I am Gigha.
I am Gigha. I was born 450 million years ago, but I looked different way back then. I have been the core of mountains. I have been above and below the ocean, and I was there when life was beginning to take hold on earth. I am Gigha.
I am in the people who call me home. I am in the animals that live in my fields. I am in the plants and trees that thrive on me. I am in the land and the rocks and the sand. I am in the ocean and the air that surrounds me. I am in everything that makes this wee island so special.
My spirit has survived for aeons, and right now I am... We are soaring. Alive, changing with the seasons and always evolving into our own future.
We are Gigha, and we have such stories to share with you, songs to sing for you, pictures to draw for you, places to show you, and hidden treasures to unearth together.
We are Gigha, and it's the deep winter of early 2021. This year, a new quiet has come over us, a different kind of hibernation. We build up our stores of food and distractions. With a backdrop of ice and snow, deep dark blue skies, still grass and noisy geese, we listen every day to the numbers on the radio of those infected, of those in hospital, of those dying. It feels very far away, but also close to home. We worry about what kind of future we may all face after. But for now,
We are grateful to be here in Gigha, cocooned from the worst of a pandemic. There is a strange peace this winter, with less storms and less people.
And in this strange peace, some of us have found time to create. We come together too, to create meaning from our present.
George Stewart stood at the window, gazing impatiently for the arrival of the postman. He had been for an interview the previous week for the post as parish minister on the Isle of Gigha, an island close to the mainland on the west coast of Scotland. His heart was set on this post. He believed he had been called by God to carry out his ministry on this island. He remembered one of his teachers in school talking about Gigha and describing it as God's own island. He had often daydreamed about Gigha. Although he had never been, he had a strong faith. So if God had anything to do with it, he knew it would be perfect.
There are currently 4 bird heads in our freezer. A heron, a gannet, a razorbill and a cormorant. Mr. Wilson always keeps an eye out and is happy to dismember the carcasses if necessary. He delivers them between his crofting duties, a grandchild usually tucked neatly under his arm. My housemate, the Island Ranger, has plans for the heads, but for now they freeze.
There were no jetties, just a heap of stones at each side and 2 small ferries going back and forth, no starting or stopping time, always on call. I remember seeing 40 boats out there at Clams, between here and Tainloan and Kilberry, and all getting a good catch, but then it just died, now only 1 or 2.
When I was about 12, me and my cousin rode around the island whilst being followed by 50 seals. One of them looked just like Uncle Anthony. I used to love squashing myself into the rock face at Dead Man's Cove on a stormy day, watching the gannets dive into the sea.
now it is spring. It's brought a flood of warmth. The curtains of rain that have been draping the island seem to be absent now, and have left a hole, a big blue hole, where the air is fresher and everything looks a little bit brighter. From the north to the south of the island, the verges come alive with daffodils. Every year we are amazed at how resilient they are to the wind. In Achamore Gardens, the rhododendron emerge gloriously from hibernation with vibrant blooms and heady scents. Spring is a time of creation, and we continue on our creative journey.
The quest for the green diamond. The green diamond of Gigha is tale worth the telling. It is a magical, mythical diamond, a diamond that is part of the island. A special diamond that makes Gigha special. For the climate on Gigha, the weather on Gigha has always been extra special. Gigha, the good island, the island of good weather.
Once upon a time, everyone was talking about climate change. Do you remember the time of a pandemic 100 years ago? The time we all had to stay at home for months at a time. The year is 2121. So sit down and rest for a while whilst we tell you the story of the time the children of Gigha helped save the planet by piecing together the green diamond of Gigha.
Once upon a time, there was a giant who had a toothache, and an early dentist on Gigha used a special green diamond in his ancient drill. But the giant's tooth was so tough that the green diamond broke into two pieces. And as the giant hopped up and down in agony, one half of the diamond fell down a rabbit hole, and the other half shattered into many pieces and flew through the air, scattering the shards across Gigha.
There was another tale about a magic map that showed where the many shards of the green diamond could be found.
Look, Ranza, please take us to the map.
Round the coast of Gigha, Ranza me crew, Ranza, to find the green diamond. Ranza me crew, Ranza, Gigha shattered diamond. Ranza me crew, Ranza, we heard there was a map. Ranza me crew, Ranza, guarded by robot crabs. Ranza me crew, Ranza, but we had no compass. Ranza me crew, Ranza, the rabbit stole our compass. Ranza me crew, Ranza, we beat the ninja rabbits. Ranza me crew, Ranza, we beat the mutant crabs. Ranza me crew, Ranza, hurrah for the long Ranza. Ranza me crew, Ranza, hurrah for the long Ranza. Ranza me crew, Ranza, we sailed on the long Ranza. Ranza me crew, Ranza, around the coast of Gigha. Ranza me crew, Ranza.
So, how will you know if the story is true? Well, legend has it that if you touch the green diamond of Gigha, you live a long life. And the children who found the pieces of the green diamond and put it back together again, they are still alive 100 years later. Memories are like dreams. In a flash, they can take you back in time.
It's been a week since the return of the swallows. They arrived on the toe of a storm, blow-ins like the rest of us. The day was coarse, cold, beyond blustery, a throwback to January. But what a joy to see them, to hear their chitter-chatter and watch them swoop and dive. Every year they return for an avian reunion, or perhaps a celebration of safe arrival. And now they've dispersed to their favourite spots to rear their young. We leave the barn doors open in anticipation. for summer and another turn of the year. Summer is always a time of arrivals, of coming and going, and this year more than ever. Yachts and ribs, with their oilskin-clad crews, making their pilgrimages up to the shop and to the gardens, stopping to purchase from the front garden sales of work. Camper vans rumbling up and down on the island, looking for the perfect spot to stop, or getting stuck in passing places. Tents popping up in different places, all over the island. Family and friends visiting, reconnecting.
We spent afternoons at the shore with our friends at Cuddyport and learned to swim there, and when we were older we went fishing either from the rocks or out in a boat round to Port Nacrero. They were happy times in a very special place.
You go searching for calories with a shell in your pocket and the sand between your toes. Life is just fine.
We visit every year and always cry on the ferry when we leave. It's hard to leave this special place.
Frayed edges and loose ends, of thrift and sunset pink, of gorse and sunburst lichen yellow, of seashore tumbled greens, of iridescent mother of pearl, of deep ocean cerulean, of the last whisper blue of dusk, frayed edges, loose threads, imperfect, perfect, my once island home.
Summer is always a busy time for islanders, and this summer feels busier than ever. Life has opened up for us all. The summer season is a short and intense one. Many of us are working long hours, making hay whilst the sun shines, and it has shone brightly this year. We live in the present, for the future remains uncertain. As we move into autumn, it's almost as if the island takes a deep breath, a sigh. The island quietens down, the evenings shorten, the sunsets grow more intense. We get the wood supplies stocked up, we dig up the tatties, we plan for winter. The agricultural year is still a busy one, with the last silage cut anticipated.
All the work on the farm is done by horse or by hand. Of course, we're all the same. And if you get finished your harvest, you help your friend to get his done. And that way it gets through the crops and everything quicker. And during the war, the farms, on an average, they've been growing 4 acres of potatoes. And there's only one potato digger. And that's a machine for digging them. And when you're finishing one farm, you just over the dike into the next one and so on. And the weather seemed to be a lot better in those days. You get the work done.
My name is Mary Allen and I live at Drumallen. I first came to Gigha September weekend 1963 along with my friend Margaret Andrew, who had been here before. I stayed at Drumune Farm and got to know Flora, Sarah and the boys. I loved my time at the farm. We had full board for £5 a week. Naturally we formed an attachment and I married George Allen in January 1965. Our first home was Croft 6, where my neighbour was Mrs. Charlotte Andrew, Johnny's mum, a lovely lady who taught me a lot, to gut and fillet fish, to pluck and clean a pheasant or chicken. She was a mine of information. We had great chats and endless cups of tea. We moved to South Drumacro in 1970. It took a lot of getting used to, especially at lambing time. I had small hands, so was put in charge of lambing. 20 years passed, and by then we had 6 children. Now in 2021, we also have 13 grandchildren, and one great-grandchild. It is always lovely to see them when COVID time allows. I have had a good life on Gigha. The folks are friendly and helpful. When I see the school children out and about in groups, they always shout, "Hello, Mary." They make you feel so special, and this is why I love Gigha and feel very privileged. I came here in 1963, aged 22 years. Now I am nearing my 80th birthday and I wouldn't change a thing.
This short and creative journey is coming to an end. Yet it has led to new beginnings and connections. It's enabled us to come together as a community in a different way. We were able to celebrate this and also to celebrate being back together again as part of this, our island project.
This was and is our island, our Gigha.
This was and is our island, our Gigha.
This was and is our island, our Gigha.
It is highly important for us to remember that we are passengers in time, we are passing through, and we must always remember that we do not own the island owns us.
Brisken trat elan mille hopoyoch Anjeli fatter fall of Isha karsten chokjol Vores karsteles kor Jain hi harom metal Il kaina kaje horstu San enam yeah Katje vil minnes Get han sas on a huku Suas er behagrin Tappe halloi, sonne clown kuchen bean.
Maria,
talú sin car seo chuin bh ballan chastal go craró Jain hí haró sin hí mocht agus tangle Crutches is dochas is canan is go hart get na heli mar a bhaí bí giag an seo go brag Sar dochas is canan clown and yelan go